In the Impact segment tonight, two hot topics, two brilliant ladies. Is it time for Eric Holder to go? And Joe Biden's shocking comments about a possible Palin run in 2012. Let's bring in Fox News analyst Leslie Marshall, who joins us from L.A., and former White House Press Secretary Dana Perino, who's in Washington. Dana, I wanted to start with you. You know what? I'm not going to start with you. I'm going to start with Leslie. Leslie, you heard
That's
Mike.
Very fair and balanced.
There we go. You heard Michael Gerson say that it's time for the Attorney General to resign. Leslie, you're a Democrat. Do you think it's time for Eric Holder to say goodbye?
No. What really concerns me here, Juan, and I agree with most of what you said, what really concerns me is, am I hearing that we have to switch attorney generals until we get a verdict we want, even if we weren't sitting in the courtroom and know all the evidence that was presented? Am I hearing that we need to have guilty verdicts across the board to make the American people feel good? Thank God the Lady of Justice is blinded, because I believe our court systems, and what they did prove with this is they want truth based on the evidence,
yeah, but
whether
Leslie,
it is a civilian or
Leslie,
military.
just in political terms, and I'm going to ask Dana about this in a second in terms of the political strategy, isn't Holder becoming a lightning rod? I'm thinking here of the Khalid Sheikh Mohammed trial, obviously not being held in Lower Manhattan, Guantanamo not being closed. I'm thinking of the new Black Panther Party case. I'm thinking about his reluctance to address Islamic extremism for what it is. Isn't he becoming a weight on the Obama administration?
No, I don't think so, Juan, and I think Dana might agree with me on this point, that this, in the administration's time right now, 2 years to, a re-election campaign for the president, would not be a time that he should be tossing his attorney general out. I don't think politically that would be a wise move.
All right, so Dana, as a political move, do you think it's time for Eric Holder to say goodbye? Would that help President Obama or hurt him?
Well, at this point, it would probably help him. One thing I think that's interesting is, just having been in the Bush administration, there wasn't a day that went by that a Democrat didn't call for either Attorney General Ashcroft or Attorney General Gonzalez to be fired or to leave the administration. And so it was quite political then. I would also say about Mike Gerson, your first guest, Juan, he is one of the most thoughtful and non-political people that I know. And he's been watching this development, all those things that you talked about, develop over time. And I would tell you that I think that going back to last spring, when a former colleague of mine and we broke a story that said that Eric Holder had not revealed that he had filed an amicus brief in the Jose Padilla case, which was also related to terrorism. And so there has been a building call for him to resign. I personally never think it's my position to call for somebody to resign.
Right. But
I can see where it could help them make a pivot, Dana, and a good one.
But Dana, let's stay with this case, this Jelani case, and let me just say, he's getting 20 to life. He's going to super max.
Right, I heard you say that.
What are you not happy with in this case?
This is what I think is interesting, is that you talked about communications and the politics of it. So, yeah, we get to tell the world that here's this guy, he's going to he might get 20 years, of course. We don't know what kind of behavior he might have.
Dana, he's got to get 20. He might get life.
Whatever. Juan, the message that was sent across the country and across the world is that he was absolved of every single murder charge, and he was only convicted of 1 out of 285. Now, remember, it was Eric Holder and the press secretary across the board that promised us that if these terrorists went to civilian trials, that they would meet their maker. Remember, we had that whole discussion beforehand. This Congress and this president passed a new law allowing for military tribunals. Why we are having this experiment with civilian trials is beyond me.
All right, I want you guys now, again, as political analysts, to look at a tape here of Vice President Biden talking about Sarah Palin and the possibility of a Palin 2012 run.
I don't think she could beat President Obama, but she's always underestimated. So I think I shouldn't say anymore.
Dana, what is Joe Biden up to? It sounds there like he's taking a shot at President Obama and giving a boost to Sarah Palin.
No, I think this is what he was doing. One, he was telling the truth. Okay, this is true. She should not be ignored, and she's proven that. Two, he is showing that he wants to make sure that the Democrats stay energized, because nothing makes Democrats more angry and go into convulsions than thinking about Sarah Palin as president. And so I think that he was just having to do that. Plus, if he had said that she was not a serious contender, can you imagine the firestorm that would have erupted? And so I think that he played it very safe today.
Well, he could have just said, you know what, I've got nothing to say on this subject. She's a lovely lady, and we'll see how the Republican primaries go. He didn't say that.
Well, does he ever say that? I mean, he can't help himself but to say that.
So, Leslie, now let me ask you from a different perspective. Is Sarah Palin your dream girl? I mean, would Democrats just love to run against Sarah Palin?
Well, as a talk show host, she's my dream candidate because it gives me plenty of material day after day. Do I think she's a good candidate for the president? Yes, because I think a lot of Republicans like her, but I don't think they would vote for her. Many don't feel she's qualified for the position. So I think it would be actually an easy re-election bid for the president. However, I do somewhat agree with the vice president. I mean, I've seen many surprises lately, Juan. Delaware is an example of that prior to the election and the primary. So you never can underestimate, in 2 years, as you know, is a long time in politics. It's more than a lifetime.
So you're saying Democrats shouldn't be cocky and think that Sarah Palin doesn't pose a threat because you look at Christine O'Donnell, whatever. You think that Sarah Palin is legit and a real contender for the presidency?
Well, I think right now, like I said, I didn't know who she was just a few weeks before she stood on that platform with John McCain.
No, but right now, Leslie, right now, she's legit. And you're saying as a political analyst, you know what? Anybody who takes her for granted is a fool.
I'm saying right now, Juan, that statistics show when people vote, name recognition is huge. And she has huge name recognition. And unfortunately, we do vote in a sense with a cult of personality and celebrity, and she has that.
She has
right
it.
now, yes, she is a viable contender.
Dana, is she your candidate?
I will support the Republican no matter who it is. I will point out one thing. She added 2 states to her book tour, South Carolina and Iowa.
Dana, Leslie, ladies, thank you very much. Up next, is it time?